Most people think the way to get rich at work is simple. Get promoted, work harder, stay loyal. Wait, that story feels safe, responsible, almost comforting. It's also the reason most people never get rich at work, because the truth is uncomfortable. Your job is not designed to make you wealthy. It's designed to make you useful. And there's a big difference. Let me show you what I mean. Picture a normal office on a Monday morning. Emails, meetings, coffee that tastes like regret. Everyone looks busy. Everyone looks important. But behind all that movement, only two things actually matter. Who controls leverage and who trades time for money. Almost everyone in that office is in the second group. You clock in. You complete tasks. You get paid. Predictable, stable, but stability has a hidden cost. Your income is capped by hours, your value is capped by a job title, and your upside is capped by someone else's decision. That's the first rule no one says out loud. At work, effort and reward are not directly linked. They feel linked, but they're not. If effort created wealth, nurses, teachers, and factory workers would be some of the richest people on earth. They're not. What actually creates wealth is leverage. Leverage is the ability to produce more output without proportionally increasing input. And in most jobs, leverage is deliberately kept away from you. Think about how raises work. You don't get paid more because the company suddenly made more money. You get paid more because someone approved it. That approval usually depends on budgets, politics, timing, and whether you're replaceable, not on how hard you tried. This is why two people can work equally hard for equally long and end up with completely different financial outcomes. One had leverage, the other had labor. Now here's where it gets interesting. Some people do get rich at work. But when you look closely, they aren't following the standard playbook. They aren't just employees. They're positioned differently inside the system. Let's talk about how the system actually works. Every company runs on 3 layers. Execution, coordination, ownership. Execution is where most people live. Do the task. Finish the work. Hit the deadline. Coordination is where leverage starts. You decide what gets worked on and who does it. Ownership is where wealth concentrates. You don't just earn from your effort. You earn from outcomes. Most careers are spent trying to climb from execution to coordination. Senior analyst, manager, director, better pay, more stress, same basic deal. You still trade time for money, just at a higher rate. The real jump happens when compensation becomes tied to results, not hours. Bonus, profit sharing, equity, revenue-based incentives. That's the moment work stops being linear, and here's the uncomfortable math. If you make 80,000 a year, even saving aggressively, your wealth grows slowly, very slowly. But if your work captures even a tiny percentage of a large outcome, everything changes. One product launch, one acquisition, one scaling system. That's why the richest people in companies often don't look the busiest. They're not sprinting, they're positioned. Now, let's break a popular myth. Just become indispensable. It sounds smart. It feels responsible. But being indispensable often makes you unpromotable. If you're the only one who can do a critical task, the company can't afford to move you. So you get praise, you get responsibility, you get stuck. The people who rise fastest aren't the ones doing the most work. They're the ones who build systems other people run. They replace themselves. That's leverage in disguise. Another myth, follow your passion at work. Passion is nice. But passion without leverage just burns energy. Companies pay more for impact, not enthusiasm. If you want to get rich at work, you have to understand what the company actually values. Revenue, cost savings, risk reduction, growth. Anything that directly moves one of those gets attention. Anything else is noise. This is where things get a little absurd. Many employees work incredibly hard on things the company doesn't measure. They optimize for effort instead of outcomes. Meanwhile, someone else does one strategically important thing once and changes their entire trajectory. Same office, same hours, wildly different results. So what does this mean in practical terms? It means you stop asking, how do I get promoted? And start asking, what creates asymmetric upside here? Where does money enter the system? Where does it scale? Where does one decision affect thousands of users, customers, or dollars? That's where leverage lives. Sometimes it's in sales, sometimes product, sometimes operations, sometimes strategy. It's rarely in tasks that can be easily timed, tracked, and replaced. Now let's address the risk. This approach is uncomfortable because it breaks the rules you were taught. It requires saying no to safe visibility work. It requires being misunderstood for a while. It sometimes requires leaving places that cap your upside. And it doesn't guarantee success, but neither does loyalty. Companies don't fail to reward you because they're evil. They fail because systems reward structure, not sacrifice. Once you see that, work looks different. Meetings sound different. Career advice sounds different. Hard work starts sounding vague. You realize most people aren't underpaid. They're under-leveraged. And here's the final twist. Getting rich at work isn't about working more. It's about choosing where your effort compounds and where it disappears. Because in the end, The most dangerous thing you can do in a career is spend decades getting better at something that never scales. So the real question isn't how hard are you working? It's this: if you stop showing up tomorrow, would your income stop immediately, or would something you built keep paying you anyway? And once you see that question clearly, it's hard to unsee it.